everybody. We are live today at NAA Apartmentalize 2024 here in the City of Love, Philadelphia. What a great thing. Kind of fits us, right? It's a great place to be. It has been a great event so far. A lot of great thought leadership and great content. If you're watching this and you are not here, shame on you. You should be here. So I hope you'll be here next year because this is truly such a good event. And when you need the inspiration and the thought leadership, no better place to go than NAA Apartmentalize. So today here on Prop Talk, where we talk about, trailblazers and trailblazing ideas, we have a special guest with us here today. And I'm not going to say it again. I turned him into Eric Menzies earlier today, which he is not. But Eric Menzies is joining us. He is the Vice President of Sales with Anyone Home. It's also a Resman sister company. And while we are going to talk a little bit about Anyone Home today, we're really here to talk more about what's going on with AI, kind of get some of your insights. Thank you for joining us on Prop Talk. I'm super excited. I love this topic. And I also know what kind of work you put into prepping for your session.
Yep.
So I have no doubt that it was an amazing roundtable discussion. I definitely know the work that you put into preparing for your session at the AIM conference, wasn't it?
Yep, AIM in Huntington Beach.
AIM in Huntington Beach,
Yep.
Right. So first off, tell us a little bit about what was that event all about, first and foremost?
Yeah, it's all about innovation, right? And so people are going there to find ways to better their portfolio in terms of different technologies, ways to market it, ways to attract prospects and with them along the prospect pipeline.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, you had a table of for 8 to 9 people to show up that morning, and something happened?
Yeah, so I was told, okay, you're gonna have a little breakfast table, you get some food, you sit down, there'll be probably 8, maybe 10 people, you'll chit chat about your topic, which was gonna be AI and automation and how it works on site. And then as the weeks leading up to it, we started seeing, okay, it was at 20 people, and I was at 30 people, and I was at 40 and 50 and 60, and they kept growing. Anyways, last minute they ended up moving us away from the round table because that would have been a pretty big round table. And
I don't know if they make one that big.
I don't think they do.
Okay.
So they put us on a podcast stage.
Okay.
So we had a great room, we weren't outside anymore on the beach, which would have been nice, but it was a much better situation for 80 or so people that were there.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was it was so well done. Yeah. Obviously that just shapes our conversation, which is how important this conversation still is.
Yeah.
And so, as an industry, we've always been reluctant to adopt technology, but there's definitely a sense, and I think we talked about it while you were prepping for that session, about this is the one time the industry is like just all in. There's just, it's going to solve all our problems. It's AI. It's the buzzword. Centralization, now onto AI, and that was really prevalent in the back half of 23. So I'm curious about, okay, so your title for the session, it's AI and automation in leasing?
Yeah, AI and automation and how it can save your on-site teams.
Okay.
And budget.
Okay, awesome. So let's start there, really quickly, because I want to hear what happened in this discussion.
Yeah.
And I want to understand what the audience is thinking, but what is the difference between AI and automation?
Yeah, and that's something that I think as an industry, we're starting to be able to define that better, but I think there's still a lot of gray area, and that's how we started out the roundtable.
Okay.
Was trying to define the two, right?
Yep.
So, automation, that's more a set of processes and technologies that get put in place. It's like an if and then, right? So a good example of automation, for example, is somebody fills out an online web form, right? And then they get an automated email right back, thinking of their inquiry and trying to move them to the next step of the leasing process, right? So it's not, the only interaction in it is an automatic response, right? Automation. AI, on the other hand, right? This is going to be a little more back and forth because it's a technology that's going to be working with a large language model, an LLM.
Yeah. There's more acronyms coming.
And it's basically the ability to take a large amount of information and be able to understand what the person is asking for it, process that information, and then be able to communicate back to the user to help them find the information they're looking for. I mean, I think this is something that people are used to hearing about now, ChatGPT, right?
Yep.
Everyone's used that or at least heard of it, I hope. And so it's basically that type of technology that we have now harnessed in a chat bot.
Machine learning and generative AI. What's the difference between those?
Yeah, great question. So generative AI, and we're talking about generative text for this conversation, that all fits under machine learning. There's a couple layers all within it, but generative text is what we've been developing for this particular product.
Okay. At this point, we all know you don't want to set it and forget about it.
Yeah.
I know you also work with a product team, so while you may lead the sales organization, you have been involved quite a bit with what's going on with the development of the platform.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, I think you might have said something earlier today while we're here on the trade show floor about this coming to market for anyone home. We have had AI. We also have a lot of companies claiming to have AI, which really just had chat automation and trees that were set up, right? Decision trees. So I'm just curious, how do you feel about the timing of anyone home's solution coming to market now versus some of those earlier adopters?
Sure.
Or early entrants, I guess, not adopters.
Yeah, we definitely weren't first, right? We weren't second either. What we did is we spent our time really focusing on more of our core product, a CRM.
Okay.
Right, where everything plugs into.
Yep.
And the thought process was there is we knew AI was coming up. We knew there were some good offerings in there. We weren't ready to develop it yet. We wanted to see how it came along a little more and make sure when we came into the market with it, we came in with the best product possible.
Yes.
And so that's what we did. Yeah, we came to the market with it at this time, and we weren't the first ones to come to market with it. We weren't the second, right? There's a lot of brands that came into the market space with AI, and now what they're doing is they're starting to try to catch up on the CRM side, I think.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
so it's not one without the other, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's a great point that I don't know that I've really heard articulated yet, right?
Exactly.
So honing in on the CRM and really enhancing that to what you guys have been in the space for a while. So you have a solid CRM to begin with.
Exactly.
I know we integrate with it. Even before we became sister companies, we're already integrated with Anyone Home. But really having that opportunity to just take that to the next level and then layer in the AI.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when we started working on AI, it has it's continued to advance. There's been better language processing and more full language, large language models that we've been able to access and build onto. So even though we came to the market a little later with it, it's not like we started back in the 1990s. Like back in 2019, we started with the same kind of information that you're seeing in the market today, or in the last year when we started developing it.
Okay.
So
so go back to that point there. So because most people would hear, okay, we're launching a solution, but it's a little misleading because while the other standalone solutions have to take in, it's generative, right? So they have to keep taking in data and information. You have to get a bigger pool of information to build off for it to improve and get better.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, you guys already had something that most people probably don't even realize. Because I heard you mention it earlier about the contact center, right? Yep. So talk to me about that, like how that really helped reshape the reality of what you're actually coming to market with. Because we may be what some people consider a little bit of a later entrant, but we're not a first generation entrant either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Because we already do have the contact center. That was Anyone Home's first product, was a contact center. So we got that thing, down to its feet.
Yes, I know.
So now that we've had that, and we have the CRM, and we have the AI. You have all these parts of the puzzle that work together because CRM brings you fantastic automation and lead management and insight into how teams and leads are performing, right?
Right.
And contact center, for example, brings the human element 24/7.
Okay.
A lot of our clients will have the calls go to the Onsite team first. If they don't answer, then it goes to our contact center. It's a very popular setup, to where there's always going to be a human to talk to. But now we have the AI portion too. So we're really coming at it from every single angle, because there's really three things that help leads convert the best they can.
Okay.
And that's combining automation, AI, and the humans on site, or just a human in general, because if they're not available, then again, you have the contact center.
Right.
Humans are booking tours more than double the rate that AI can. And lead to lease conversion is oftentimes 3 to 4 times as high when you have both AI and a human element.
Well, those are some impressive stats.
Yeah.
Because, I think as people are looking at, to be honest, partly a labor force coming out of the pandemic, we had a huge turnover frontline associates. A lot of people new coming into the industry, coming in at the top end, unrealistic, unsustainable, double-digit rent growth, high occupancy, and we know that when you're sitting in those market conditions, you don't have to exert the same skill set to the same level to convert leases, right? When you're here out on the trade show floor, and we've been in sessions, I think so many people dealing with the labor shortages that I just mentioned are looking for that silver bullet, and it's more about the lack of staffing. And I don't know if the context about conversion is coming up enough, because I think a lot of people had, and that's probably where this idea came from for you, if I remember correctly, is there was like so much focus on this will solve all our problems. We can't hire people, we can't train people, so this could be the end-all be-all answer, and it's not a silver bullet. And to hear you say that the human factor is still, at least at this point, still more effective communicating with your residents and how you're converting, right? I think that's really important to point out, because when you walk the conference center and you're in sessions, you hear it frequently from frontline team members about the fear of the AI going to take their jobs, right? And what you just basically said is, if you provide the better experience, your job is safe.
Exactly. I mean, we've been here all day on the floor, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I've heard that exact concern multiple times. And the way I like to look at it is, okay, do you know how to use a calculator? Yes. Did it take your job? No, but it made help you do your job better.
Yes.
And that was the first iteration. And then out came Excel, and people probably had the same thought, like, Excel is going to take my job. But no, you still need someone. It's a tool to help you do your job better.
It's a tool.
And now we're at AI. And AI is not built to take anyone's job. It's to help you focus on the better parts, the parts of your job that you should be focusing on.
Yeah.
So for a leasing agent on site, they shouldn't be on their computer typing in a chat room with some prospect. They should be building rapport with people that are coming in, working with residents, really like making it a true community, getting to know the residents and helping those that want to become residents.
Or I don't know, walk the property.
Or walk their property.
I know we're all supposed to do it. We all say we do it.
And now,
but I know it doesn't.
And now you have time to do it.
That bandwidth, right. Increase the capacity. Yeah.
So it's not there to take anyone's job, it's just there to help you do it better.
Yeah.
And so as far as staffing shortages go, this is a good tool to not spread your team so thin, so they're having to do so many different things. AI can really help them specialize on what it is they should be specialized on.
And you're able to feed, because you guys were tracking and recording all of those calls, right, with the contact center. So I'm guessing that's helped kind of leapfrog. Like, you got to put the platform in place, and I honestly do not know developmentally what Nick and the team is doing to actually deliver it, or what it looks like from a code perspective, because I never coded, but I would imagine that having that as a resource and data to feed has got to help immensely, right, make up what might be lost time, right?
Yeah, very much so. I think when AI was first coming out, they were, like you're saying, it was the end-all be-all. They just wanted to implement it and let it run. And today, being on the floor all day, we've been asking people about those that are using a chatbot, like, oh, how's it working for you? Good, I think.
I've heard that too.
Good, I think. And that's not
good, I think.
We need to look at the data, and when you look at the data, what it tells you, and because we have integrated with AI chatbots for some time now, and we have all the data of how conversion rates have gone, when AI touches a prospect by itself, your conversion rate is just over 2%. That's not very good.
No.
If it's just AI involved.
Okay.
But you involve that person in it, and you're about 4xing it. It goes up to almost 10%.
Wow.
Just by involving a human with it, whether it be...
Well, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, and that's exactly why it's not going to take anyone's job, because it's not a leasing agent, it's a leasing assistant.
Yeah.
And
it's a tool leasing assistants do to stay on top of tasks. Right?
Calculators, so you don't have to multiply and carry the one, right?
Yeah, I like that. So the only thing I would say caution is, I think as long as whatever delivers the better experience, right, is going to win. So I think in this industry, if you're listening to this, that's got to be what you're focusing on your team, because this can't be done. What Eric and I are doing right now, being able to feel his energy, read the body language, all of those things, check box. At least today cannot do that, and I think they're ways off from being able to do it. But they also, that empathy, the connection, that human connection is still so important, because these are just people's homes, for God's sakes. But I caveat that with, if you are in fast food and you know people who work in the drive-thru, I don't think their jobs are safe. Because I haven't had a good experience at the drive-thru in a long time, unless you're Chick-fil-A. They're okay.
Chick-fil-A handles it well.
Chick-fil-A's got it down. But everybody else, I think the drive-thru role might be going out of style. Just saying. that job is gone. You can tell I've had issues with that recently. It's like, oh my gosh. So, okay, so go back to the AIM conference and this roundtable discussion. What was the biggest concern from the audience? Because it was very engaging from what you told me.
A lot of involvement, yeah.
Yeah, so what was the biggest concern coming up from the audience? And then in the second part, what surprised you about the audience interaction or questions from the audience?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there was a lot of very much concerns about AI. It was more, the conversation was a lot more around how do I properly implement this into my tech stack? And is it the right decision for me to use it?
Yeah.
And again, I think most people have said, yes, it is the right thing to do. You have to have it as part of your tech stack in some way or the other. But it's in terms of serving, how do we want to...
Is it about how to implement it, perhaps? Was that the challenge? Because I know one of the things I was curious about is like, how do you think about it, like working it into the strategy of your business? And so I think you're 100% right. I think you've got to have it, right? What it is and to what level, I think is the big question, right? And then if you do it, what does it look like? Like, how do you roll that out to your teams? Like you said, I think it works. That's a concerning answer, right? That's got to be part of the strategy too, about making sure you're doing things that are actually giving you the outcome that you think. So did you guys have conversation around those types of things at the conference?
Yes, yeah. So we talked, especially in the roundtable, we talked quite a bit about the purpose of implementing it, not only to take some of the work off the on-site team shoulders, but what the lead benefits going to be, and in the sense of how are we going to get more leads from it, right?
Okay.
Because when you're thinking about your leasing strategy and how you're going to get more leads, or sorry, get more leases, it's not rocket science with a bigger funnel, getting leads coming into it.
Exactly.
So right now, a lot of people have, you can walk into an office and see an appointment. You can call them and talk to them and set an appointment maybe, but there's plenty of people that don't want to just walk in unbeknownst because they have busy schedules, or they don't want to pick up the phone because they just aren't talkers. We see a lot, of course, with Gen Z.
Meet people where they're at.
Yep. So exactly. One of the things I like to say is you want to trade in the currency of your customer, right? If they want to talk on the phone, give them that option. If they want to just chat, give them an AI chatbot to talk with. And it has to be an instant one too that can actually go the full distance. Yeah. Right. It can't just be.
What do you mean by that? Go the full distance?
Yeah. So chatbots, when they first started to come out, a really popular architecture was decision trees.
Yes.
There's like it's like those like kids' books, Choose Your Own Adventure, flip to page 6, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. You ask, what are you looking for, price and availability, click the button. It can only give you so much information.
Okay.
Enter AI into the chatbot, and now you can ask it whatever you want. You can ask it with incorrect spelling. You can ask it what you can say not very nice things to it, and it's still gonna be very professional and respond with the information that it knows. Okay. Right. It's gonna come off of the large language model that we give it access to, where it knows what it needs to know about multifamily. Yeah. But also it accesses information about the particular property it's referring to. Right. So
there's a lot it can do, but at some point, can it go all the way? And
yeah. So at some point, it's still a new technology, right? And we've all been there where we're talking to a robot on the phone, or we're typing with one, and you get to that point where you're pressing 0 1,000 times and saying representative, and right now
drives me insane.
It's not a good experience, and you get off the phone not very happy, or you get to the person you're not very happy, right?
Right.
So we don't try to drag people along with the process if they're not liking it, right? If they don't want to talk to a person, we give them the ability to actually shoot out to a member of our contact center team who can be a live person that will chat with them directly.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So there's other options where you'll say, I want to talk to a representative, and it'll try to reel you back in.
Yeah.
Or it'll say,
it'll try to avoid getting you.
It'll try to avoid you getting there, and then you're not putting them on the path they want to go to. Or it'll say, okay, please give us your name and number and we'll get back to you. And now you've stopped the conversation.
Yes.
The best way to get an apartment leased is when you have someone that's hot and ready to go for an apartment, they want to do a tour, you don't want to stop it.
Yeah, agreed.
What does that do when you stop it?
It lets them get online and go search somewhere else.
Exactly. 2 days go by until the leasing agent gets back to them with the information, because maybe it's the weekend or something.
If ever.
And now you're behind. And how much does it cost to delay a lease by 2 days, 5 days? What does that cost you on site?
Yeah, vacancy, whatever your daily rate is. It adds up. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Wow. When we think about implementing these things, because of the information that you've had at your fingertips that we just hadn't been able to fully take advantage of yet, not yet, so we put the base of the platform in. What does it look like actually implement it? We don't normally talk products and prop talk, but this was kind of an important conversation, and we are at the exhibit hall. But I know that some of the feedback I've gotten from my customer base is that they're going down that path, but they're really struggling with the implementation of some of the products we integrate with.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about what's the implementation like with what you're doing?
So implementation, we try to make it as simple as possible, and we try to be very transparent about it too.
Every software company says that.
Everyone says that. It is the playbook.
And that's coming from me.
And I know our director of implementations is probably going to listen to this, so I'm also going to make sure I don't get in trouble with Brittany. So Brittany, this is for you. As far as implementation goes, there's two ways to look at it. If you're already an Anyone Home customer, if you're already using our products, there's a good chance a lot of the setup is already there, because if you use Anyone Home, right now you can log into the system, you go to the properties tab, and you go into a particular property and you have all the information as far as like what the amenities are, what the qualifications are, selling features, all that kind of stuff. So if you're already an Anyone Home customer using CRM or contact center, a lot of it's there. What we just need to do is do some stuff on the back end on our side. There might be a couple of holes that we need to ask you questions for, like send you a questionnaire to get some missing pieces. But we take all that, we put a piece of code, we deliver it to you, and you implement it onto your website. Yeah. So it's a really quick and easy way to go if you're already set up with this.
Well, that's fantastic. I bet you were pretty popular today talking about that.
Yeah.
Because we're in the middle of leasing season, like we are.
A long time. They want to be quick on it.
So.
Now, if you don't use Anyone Home, that's okay. It's still quite easy to do. We're just going to be sending you a questionnaire, and you fill it out with the basic information. Again, of course, we're integrated with most major property management softwares like Resman. So that pricing availability is when you come into us. You're going to provide us some basic information on that questionnaire. Same thing, we'll provide you a timeline right up front so you know exactly how long it's going to take. And then we'll get you the code and you're up and running. So it's a pretty easy lift. All
right. That did sound easy. I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to say that's a pretty good thing. So, and our final thoughts, is there any cautionary tale you think for anyone out there?
Absolutely. Don't set it and forget it. Take a look at it. And if your AI tool, you can't get in there and see actually how it's performing, then you're going to be one of those people on the floor saying, I think it's okay. Right? You got to know how it's performing. You have to have the reporting for it. So make sure that the AI that you choose has a good reporting suite behind it. And
that's important. Good reporting suite. Have you tried? Have you played with the? I'm guessing you have, right? You played with the AI,
our leasing AI.
Yeah, your leasing AI system.
I've had a great time with it. I asked it all kinds of questions that I could never say to a person. I would
you just go ahead and own it.
And it answers it really well.
Have you been able to stump it too much, or?
Sure. If I ask it a question that we don't have the data for, it's not going to know how to respond and say, I'm sorry, I don't have that information, and then they can either.
But then you have a person.
A live person.
Yeah, because your solution, that's included in your solution.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so that full, it's funny, human to AI to human workflow or cycle you guys can provide. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, because I agree with you. There's nothing more frustrating. It's funny because CBS has the really good AI. It sounds so much like a human, it freaks me out. But then there's others, I'm like, I just want to throw something. And you're right, people still, and these are people's homes, when they have a problem or they need to move quickly, they want answers and they just want to be able to, trade in the currency that matters for them.
Exactly.
I'm wearing that out now, I love that. Trade in the currency that matters to them. All right, well, hopefully you guys got some great information. We are wrapping up our time now.
I'm turn the lights on enough.
I know. They may. Anyway, thank you, Eric, for coming in. I heard really good things about your session. And I can tell you're passionate about this. It's kind of fun and it's exciting.
It is.
I also kind of know who you're working with on the back end that's helping architect this, because they used to work. They work with me still, but that's my partner in Resman in the beginning, and I know he's a genius. So I cannot wait to see where this goes for you and for Anyone Home, and just the rest of the platform we'll be able to bring to the other Inhabit business units. It's going to be pretty fun and exciting.
I think so.
It will be. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you go and subscribe to Prop Talk wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple Music or Spotify. So that you can keep in tune with what's happening in every aspect of the multifamily ecosystem through Prop Talk. by Roseman. Hope to see you guys here next year in person.